In the bustling streets of Los Angeles, where the sun kissed the pavement and the nightlife hummed with energy, a man named John Nolan stood at a crossroads. At over 40, the weight of his years pressed against him like the heavy Los Angeles smog. Gray streaks adorned his hair, and laughter lines etched his face, marking the passage of time filled with unfulfilled dreams. Yet, despite the comfort of routine and the security of familiarity, a spark flickered in his heart, igniting a desire for change. One evening, while sipping coffee at a small diner, the flickering neon lights outside caught his eye. The diner was a hub of stories, every table filled with laughter, whispered secrets, and the occasional shout of joy. It was here that John overheard a group of young officers recounting their latest adventures on the force, their eyes gleaming with excitement. A familiar yearning bubbled within him. He felt alive, reminded of a time when he dared to dream. That very night, as he stared at his reflection in the bathroom mirror, he made a decision that would ripple through his life. He would become a police officer. The thought was exhilarating yet terrifying. Could he truly step into the world of sirens and gunfire, a world dominated by youth? Would he be met with skepticism, or would he find acceptance? John embarked on his journey with a palpable mix of trepidation and resolve. The training was grueling. He felt every muscle in his body protest as he pushed against the limits he had long accepted. The scent of sweat and determination hung in the air, mingling with the sounds of shouts, laughter, and the relentless clang of weights in the gym. His fellow recruits were young enough to be his children, bright-eyed and full of confidence, yet he found camaraderie among them, sharing stories and forging bonds. As the weeks passed, John faced not only physical challenges but also the skepticism of others. "What do you know about this life?" they would whisper, eyes wide with doubt. But John was undeterred. He channeled his life experiences into every training exercise, proving time and again that wisdom could be as valuable as youthful vigor. The dust of the training grounds became a testament to his perseverance, each bruise and sore muscle a badge of honor. The turning point came during a routine patrol, where everything he had learned was put to the ultimate test. An emergency call crackled through the radio about a robbery in progress, and John's heart raced. With urgency, he jumped into the police cruiser. The sirens wailed, slicing through the night, and adrenaline surged through his veins. As they arrived on the scene, chaos erupted. A frightened crowd, panicked shouts, and the unmistakable sound of chaos. In that critical moment, John sprang into action. He remembered his training, his instincts sharpened by both experience and resolve. The fear that had once gripped him transformed into courage as he navigated the chaos, calming frightened citizens while directing his younger partners with a steady hand. The success of that night, as they apprehended the robbers without injury, marked a pivotal moment not just in his career, but in his life. Months later, as he donned his uniform for the first time, John stood tall, feeling the weight of respect settle upon his shoulders. The badge gleamed on his chest, a symbol of resilience and a reminder that dreams have no expiration date. The streets of Los Angeles, filled with stories of both despair and hope, would now echo his own. With each call, each challenge, John Nolan proved that age is merely a number, and that the heart's desire knows no bounds. His journey was not just about joining the force, it was about embracing life fully, a testament that it's never too late to chase your dreams. John Nolan's life had always been a tapestry of routine threads, woven together by the steady rhythm of construction work. Each dawn, he awoke to the harsh clang of his alarm clock, its beeping echoing in the dimly lit room like a siren calling him to duty. The scent of sawdust and the feel of cool metal tools were as familiar to him as the sound of his own heartbeat. Yet, beneath the surface of this ordinary existence, a storm raged. The echo of his recent divorce reverberated through his soul, leaving him adrift in a sea of monotony, each day blending into the next until they became an indistinguishable blur. One fateful afternoon, as John stood in line at the local bank, the air was thick with a palpable tension, the kind that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. Suddenly, chaos erupted as a masked figure burst through the doors, brandishing a weapon and barking orders. Panic surged through the crowd like a tidal wave, sending people scrambling for the exits, their fear palpable in the air. But in that moment, John's heart raced for an entirely different reason. While others fled, instinct kicked in. John's body moved before his mind could catch up. He crouched low, heart pounding like a jackhammer in his chest, and saw the robber's wild eyes darting around, filled with desperation. In that split second, he remembered the camaraderie of his construction crew, the silent trust built over years of teamwork. He couldn't just stand by. With a surge of courage, John sprang into action, using his construction skills to improvise a makeshift barricade, buying time for the police to arrive. As sirens wailed outside, the adrenaline surged, igniting a fire within him that he thought had long been extinguished. He could feel the weight of the moment, a heady mix of fear and exhilaration, as he faced the robber, his heart thrumming in a rhythm of defiance. With the arrival of law enforcement, the situation culminated in a tense standoff, but John's quick thinking and bravery had turned the tide, leading to the capture of the criminal. The crowd erupted in applause as the officers took control, but John felt something entirely different. He felt alive. In the aftermath, as he walked out of the bank, the air felt crisper, the colors of the world around him brighter. The cheers of gratitude from others washed over him, but deeper than that was the realization of his own strength. That ordinary day had transformed into a defining moment, igniting a spark he thought had flickered out long ago. With newfound purpose coursing through his veins, John made a bold decision. He would trade in the clang of metal and the scent of wood for a badge and a uniform. He would become a police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department. Yes, he was older than most recruits, but age had taught him resilience and strength that youth often lacked. And so, John Nolan, the once ordinary man, stepped onto a path of bravery and service, a journey fueled by a single moment of courage that changed the course of his life forever. The hero he discovered within himself would illuminate his days, filling them with meaning, purpose, and the promise of a brighter future. As the dawn broke over the city, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, John stood at the entrance of the police academy, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The air was crisp, filled with the faint scent of fresh asphalt and blooming jasmine from the nearby gardens. He could hear the distant sounds of sirens and the chatter of young recruits, all of them much younger than he, their laughter ringing like chimes in the morning breeze. At 50, John felt like a relic in a world driven by youthful energy and ambition. He tightened his grip around the strap of his duffel bag, a symbol of his resolve, and took a deep breath. The doubts cast upon him by fellow officers and trainers loomed like dark clouds in his mind. Many of them had whispered behind his back, their voices laced with skepticism, convinced that a man of his age wouldn't withstand the pressures of police work. "He's too old," they said. "He won't keep up." But John's spirit flared with defiance. He had spent years in a mundane job, yearning for something greater, and he wasn't about to let age define his dreams. The training sessions were grueling, each day starting before the sun kissed the rooftops. John jogged beside his younger counterparts, their legs sprinting forward, while his were heavy with the weight of years. He felt the burn in his muscles, the sting of sweat trickling into his eyes, yet he pushed on, fueled by determination. During firearms training, he fumbled at first, his hands trembling as he fired, but with the guidance of the seasoned officers, he steadied his aim. Each shot fired was a declaration of his intent, a whisper of triumph against the doubts that haunted him. With every passing week, John's confidence grew. The camaraderie with his fellow rookies slowly transformed from a hesitant acquaintance into a tight-knit bond. He shared stories of his past, of a life filled with lost opportunities, but also rich with lessons learned. They began to see him not just as the older recruit, but as a mentor of sorts, a man with a wealth of experience that they could draw upon. To their surprise, John was quick to offer guidance, helping them navigate the complexities of the training exercises. But the true test came during a high-pressure scenario training. A simulated hostage situation unfolded before their eyes, and chaos erupted as the recruits were thrust into action. John's heart raced as adrenaline surged through his veins, his instincts kicking in. He took control, guiding the younger officers with authority, his voice steady amidst their panic. "Stay focused, we'll get through this together." The fear that had once gripped him melted away, replaced by a fierce protectiveness that surged within. When the scenario concluded, and the instructors praised his leadership, John felt an overwhelming wave of relief wash over him. The doubts that had once clouded his mind began to dissipate, replaced by shouts of approval from his peers. That day he not only proved his worth to the instructors, but also to himself. He was no longer the old man longing for a second chance. He was a vital part of a team, a guardian of the streets he had longed to protect. As he stood in front of the academy, now a few months later, the sun setting behind him, he reflected on his journey. The struggles, the sweat, and the triumphs had all brought him to this moment. John smiled, feeling the warmth of accomplishment wrap around him. It was not just about being accepted, it was about showing the world, and himself, that determination knows no age. The doubts had transformed into a powerful resolve, igniting a fire within him that would carry him through every challenge that awaited on the path of justice. In the bustling city of Los Angeles, where the streets hummed with the sounds of sirens and the smell of street food wafted through the air, there stood a man named John Nolan. At first glance, John was just an ordinary individual, his graying hair and weathered skin telling stories of a life well lived, but filled with missed opportunities. Yet to those who knew him, or to those who would come to know him, he was something more. He was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Years before taking the plunge into law enforcement, John had spent his days as a contractor, hammering nails and repairing roofs, each job bringing him temporary satisfaction, but never true joy. In the quiet moments of his life, he often found himself gazing at police cars whizzing by, a flicker of longing igniting within him. He had always dreamed of being a cop, a protector of the people, yet life had charted a different course. But life, it seemed, had one more chance in store for him. At the age of 45, with a heart full of hope and a spirit that refused to break, John enrolled in the police academy. The world around him stood still as he took his first step toward his dream, the scent of fresh paint and polished floors filling his lungs as he walked through the academy doors. The training was grueling. Every day he faced young recruits who were half his age, their laughter and energy sometimes piercing through his resolve. There were moments when doubt crept in, whispering that perhaps he was too old to chase this dream, but John pushed back against it. The sound of a distant siren would lift his spirits, reminding him of his purpose. He would often recall the wise words of his father, who had once told him, "It's never too late to follow your dreams, son." As the weeks turned into months, John began to transform, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. He learned to harness his life experiences, using them as a foundation to guide the younger officers. His empathy for others shone through, and soon he became a mentor, a bridge between the seasoned and the novice. However, the road was not without conflict. During a high-stakes situation, John found himself face-to-face with a dangerous suspect, the tension palpable in the air. In that moment, fear gripped him, but so did clarity. He remembered the faces of those he wished to protect, the very reason he had donned the badge. It was a test of his character and resolve, and with a deep breath, he confronted the danger head-on, emerging victorious and proving to himself that he truly belonged. In the aftermath of the incident, John stood in the precinct, the flickering lights overhead casting a warm glow around him. Colleagues gathered to congratulate him, their voices a reassuring symphony of camaraderie and respect. He allowed himself to feel a swell of pride, not just for the badge he wore, but for the journey he had undertaken. John Nolan had not only found his place in the world as a rookie cop, but had also embraced the essence of second chances. With each passing day, he inspired others, reminding them that the path to fulfillment is often winding, but always worth the walk. In the end, John learned that dreams are not bound by age. They are as timeless as the heart's desire itself. As the sun set on the city once more, John stood at the precinct's entrance, gazing at the horizon. He knew that while this chapter was complete, the story of his life, as well as the dreams of others, was just beginning. And so the message echoed in his mind: it is never too late to follow your dreams. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.